and for me the example has been, and this is something that I feel very, very excited about talking about, which is something that I've done in my storytelling over and over again. And since you and I have been working together, we have taken we have fallen back on this structure, and almost nowhere is this monomyth spoken of as a structural tradition, narrative structural tradition. I haven't seen any instance of this monomyth being even spoken of as a structural tradition, and so we are giving away a very big tool today from our toolkit, and that is the 10 Bulls.
10 Zen Bulls, yeah.
The 10 Bulls of Zen, which follows a very similar structure, but it's extremely useful for internal quests, for quests that are not quests that happen by standing in one place and jumping instead of going to the end of the world and finding yourself, trying to find yourself.
The quest that leads you back home with a new perspective,
right,
on the world that is.
Right. So the 10 Bulls structure the 10 Bulls go like this. You start in quest of a bull, you start in search of a bull, and you go through wilderness. You're a young person, you have all these questions inside you about the self, and the bull, of course, is a great metaphor for self, or for meaning.
But you have never seen the bull before.
But you've never seen the bull before, and it's a bull. Remember, it's not a piece of land. It's not, it's not it's not a jewel. So the metaphor remains consistently metaphorical, and you'll see how it grows in its philosophical framework and philosophical depth as it goes along. So you start with the bull. You don't know what the bull looks like. You have no idea where to find it. You go through wilderness. You are completely lost. For the longest time, you stay lost, and you do and often you feel that you want to just merge into this beautiful nature that is calling upon you. So it's incredible how much of this is also geographically determined. One is a monomyth emerging from a space that is cold and harsh.
Exactly, and where opportunity was never in your land. You had to venture out.
You had to venture out, and the other is an opportunity calling you and asking you to not go out. The nature around you, the environment around you is so pleasant. There is just food everywhere. Why do you even want to go out? That's the first step, in fact, in the 10 Bulls. And the second, immediately after that. So the ordinary world is extremely compelling. It's not a dystopia. The ordinary world is quite utopic already. Yeah. So hence the quest is more internal. It's what happens when your belly is full. The second step is perceiving the bull.
The signs of the bull, right?
Yeah, you start seeing signs of the bull.
You see footprints. You see
the footprints. You don't see the bull yet. You see the footprints of the bull, and this could be anything. But you start kind of going down that.
But you're onto something. That the bull is not a figment of imagination. There is something
here.
Yeah.
And then you perceive the bull. That's the first time you start kind of seeing glimpses of the bull. And this applies to your truth, your framework, your way of life. When you are young, you start by feeling that you want to find answers. You're restless to find some sort of sense or meaning to your life, and then you start on that quest and you start seeing things. When you start reading ideas, when you start creating the earliest framework, you know that you're onto something. And then you start meeting peers, and then you start perceiving the bull a little bit. You start getting a sense of what it could be, but you still don't know what it is. And soon enough, you catch the bull. You hold the bull by its tail, but the bull is way more powerful than you are. It's again the framework of life. Meaning is way more powerful. It goes in any direction. It's your own mind.
You can't control the bull. You can't tame the bull.
Mind. You can't tame your own mind. It's just taking you wherever it wants to take you. It has its own pleasures. It has its own desires. It is its own thing, and you just can't control it even after having caught it. So the next stage, of course, is domesticating it. It's taming it, which is the next stage of that inner journey, where you have to now start rigorously working with the bull. You have to start a dialogue. You have to start a negotiation. You have to start controlling it. You have to start becoming a master of this bull now. And again, if you start kind of extrapolating the bull as meaning, or as way of life, as framework, as truth, or as your own mind, it starts kind of really seeming to make sense in its structure. So you're now taming the bull. You're now becoming a master of the bull. And hence the next stage is that you are riding the bull now. You are sitting on the bull, you're playing your flute, you are so much in control that you don't even need to really hold its reins anymore. You are riding it home. It's completely, you're the master of this world now.
And this is where most Western myths end.
And this is barely
This is when Neo stops the bullet.
Usually in the Western myth, yes. But this is usually in the Eastern myth barely the center of the story. It's and to begin with, a lot of Eastern myths can actually just begin here.
Yeah. Also, like, this is not a rule of thumb for every story. These are classical patterns found en masse in both structural stories. Yeah.
No, but I find it so fascinating. Like even the mentor and hero roles switch so rapidly in Eastern myths. It's always the perspective. There is no beginning, there is no end, and we'll come to that in a moment. That Eastern myths are cyclical, Western myths are linear, or cyclical or spiral in the East. So you are here, but you were here before, because there is this strong idea of reincarnation in Eastern mythology. In Western mythology, there is no reincarnation as such. You are here today. You will die, and then you will wait at the great God's judgment seat, and then you will be judged based on the actions you did, and then you will live happily ever after or sadly ever after, depending on the actions that you're judged on. Whereas in the East, it's constantly cyclical. Based on the actions that you have committed, you will have certain punishments, certain redemption, certain degree of reward, and then you'll be back to square one, and you'll start all over again, over and over again, till you free yourself from the burden of reincarnation, from the bondage of life and death. So that's the mythology of the East. So it's very, very fascinating how that finds its way into story structure. So riding the bull home literally becomes a midpoint of the story structure, or and then immediately followed by this tranquility that follows, that the true reward.
You and the bull become the one.
You and bull become the one. Become one. The bull transcends. This is. I mean, in the Matrix also, even though temporarily this moment comes at the very end, but this moment is addressed.
Basically, it's again because they also drew a lot from Eastern mythology. 80% of the 90% of the story in the Matrix happens till you riding the bull.
Right.
And the last few seconds.
Yes.
Everything else.
Right. Most of the story. So they rapidly run through in quest of the bull. You want to know what is the Matrix? Nobody can be told what the Matrix is. You have to see for yourself. So perceiving the bull, catching the bull, the hero making a choice, going into and getting reincarnated, and from there on, most of the story is just about taming the bull, just about taming the bull and riding the bull back home. But right after that, we do see a moment of the bull transcended, which is the fact that you and the bull become one, and that's the answer to the question that is seeded earlier when Neo says, "Are you saying that I'll be able to dodge bullets?" And Morpheus says, "No,
when time comes, you won't have to."
I'm saying when you won't have to when your time comes, and that's really the idea of the bull transcended, that you and the bull have become one in a way that there is no distinction. You have to dodge bullets if the bullet is outside of you. So that's a bull transcended. There is a certain tranquility. There is a certain, you have become such a master of not only the world inside, but as a virtue of having become the master of that world within, you have become a master of the world without, and hence you have become one with your conquest. Your conquest is not the other anymore. You and your conquest are one and the same now, have merged into a unified identity, and hence the bull transcends. And the next stage, which is my favorite point in the Zen 10 Bulls, at least graphically, aesthetically, it's an incredible piece of poetry. Whether or not meaningfully or rationally we derive any meaning from it immediately, I think it's an extremely beautiful poetic insight, which is the next circle. So these 10 bulls are given through these calligraphic illustrations, and the next circle is an empty circle, and it says the bull and the self both transcended. There is neither the bull nor you nor the environment, nor west nor east, nor conquest nor the conquered. It's all transcended. It's all one. There's a oneness to things, to experience. And there are two films that come to my mind that explore this structure very well. One is Akira. Akira does an incredible job. I mean, if you guys haven't seen Akira, please, I strongly recommend this incredible Japanese.
And you will see ripple effects of that film on so much pop culture.
Across
that
everything.
things.
Yeah. across everything. Of course, The Matrix, and pretty much any film that has some degree of simulation in it, some degree of pretty much
Or
anything.
cyberpunk elements.
All cyberpunk cinema would have some elements of Akira. But the film that kind of draws the most from Akira, I think, would be Lucy. Not a great film, but a charming film at that.
But if you use 100% of your brain, it's a great film.
But Lucy does this. Lucy has the bull and the self transcend at the end, like Akira. They become one, and hence the step that follows right after is back to the source, returning to the source.
Yeah.
You become nature. You become the universe. This is the Virat Swarup. This is the point where there is no distinction between you and everything that exists in cosmos. And the step after that is why it's ever so more interesting. You would be like, okay, so now the bull is transcended. You have become one with the bull. The self and the bull have both transcended. You become one with the source itself. You've gone with the whole universe, and you are now one.
Enlightened.
You're enlightened. Your consciousness is expanded to fill up the whole universe. That's how vast you're feeling. Now, what can there be?
Yeah.
That's why I find this most interesting.
Which is also my favorite part of the entire structure.
Mine too, absolutely. I love it so much that the last one is
Return to market.
in the market.
Yeah.
It's
basically a very. The idea is a very. What's the word for it? I'm just blanking.
No, the idea is haryali or rasta. That now you have found the road. Now make it for others. Go back into the market. Kabira khada bazaar.
But it's also
mein,
utilitarian. You have.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's-
You have. That's the word I was looking for. You have gained enlightenment. अब उससे करोगे क्या?
करोगे क्या? प्रयोजन.
Yeah.
Your utility, the application of your fundamental truth.
Yeah. You cannot divorce yourself from reality and ignore reality and live outside of it.
Absolutely.
You have to come back to the world and now apply it in whatever way, either spreading it or using it or whatever to the life, to your life.
And this is celebrated across cultures. The Jainas celebrated by privileging Arihant over every other kind of Siddha. So Namo Arihantanam, Namo Siddhanam. The Arihant, the one who is like a Siddha, who is a Siddha, but has taken one more responsibility upon themselves to take this education, to take this enlightenment and spread it to others. It's become a Tirthankar, hence.
Got it.
So this is celebrated across cultures over and over again, that greater than the one who is enlightened.
So what does Arihant translate to?
Well, Arihant, literal translation would be the vanquisher of enemy, but the enemy is again like an internal enemy. It's like the bull again. So the one who has vanquished the bull, who has kind of controlled tamed the Ari, and Ari in the case of Jainas is often the senses and the desires and the experiences, and so the one who has conquered that and is now using that insight, using that path, creating that path for others to follow, and hence is Tirthankar. So that is celebrated across again many cultures. The idea that the teacher, the one who has made it is great, but the one who has made it and has now turned around to create a path for others to follow is even greater. That kind of exists again over and over again in all philosophies, all philosophical frameworks, but Eastern even more so. That the final thing is that Kabira Khada Bazaar mein, sabki mange khair, na kahu se dosti, na kahu se bear. Like at this point, Kabira has reached this sense of enlightenment and is still in the market, is still living through the market, because that's the job. The job is to live through it. Na kahu se dosti, na kahu se bear. Not making friendships or contracts with anyone, not creating animosity or with anyone, hoping for everyone's wellness. But what is Kabira doing in this place? Kabira is reciting poetry. Kabira is distilling the most complex truths into intuitive, poetic insights.
Yeah. So again, what I find more fascinating about this is it's that you return back home and you see it's a change of worldview perspective and a new application of your worldview.
Right.
Which is fundamental.
Right.
And that's fundamentally what we have been using in writing our stories. You'll see some of them very soon.